What's up, you guys? Welcome to A Cup Full of Confessions. I am your co-host Tree, and
I'm your host, Jen. We thank you for coming back to join us. So, on this episode, we're going to be talking about peace is perfect. And you already know we have our glass to sip while we're confessing. I'm going to go ahead and grab it.
what are we drinking?
We are drinking, let me grab it. While I'm getting this, you go ahead and grab those wine glasses.
Okay. So, for this episode, we will be using white wine glasses. You can never go wrong with any type of wine glass, but these are just so sexy to me, and it's full. You can get plenty in here. And let's talk about the bottle. What are we drinking?
We have some Maison number 9. This is from the French Riviera. It's a rosé. It's actually by Malone and this extravagant winemaker.
The bottle is like sexy.
Isn't it?
Like, yeah.
I mean, I saw it and it was just gorgeous. I mean, even the cork. Did you notice that?
Oh, wow, yeah. It's clear.
Yeah, it's clear. And I think it's reusable, so you can pull it out and then put it back in if you don't drink everything. So I'm going to go ahead and open it up.
Yes, I'm ready.
So we can, I don't know how to get in here though. Not going to explode it again.
Turn the bottle so the name is facing.
Oh, sorry.
So it's nothing like a refreshing drink after a long day. Sometimes I don't even have a long day, but I still need a refreshing drink.
Just to top it off, right?
Sometimes it's midday for me. Let's just be honest.
Ooh. That was hard to get off, but you can tell you can reuse it. This bottle is so sexy.
Yes.
I kind of want to keep it, but...
It's like elegant.
And it smells good. Do you smell that? Take a whiff.
Oh.
Doesn't it smell good?
Yeah, it's like peachy.
Let me pour you some. Oh, we just had to spill some, huh? Please cut that out, Kai. Is that equivalent? Yeah. So we are going to go ahead and do a little taste test. Oh, yes. Cheers.
Very refreshing.
It is. It's crisp.
It's like a subtle, it's refreshing. It's sweet, but not too sweet.
It is. I can taste like some peach notes in it. It's really good. Y'all gotta give this a try.
Yeah.
And the bottle is pretty large. I mean, we have the huge white wine glasses because they're fabulous. You know, the big goblet style vibe with the white wine. I got turned on to these from Olivia Pope on Scandal. You know, she had a really long stem, but I couldn't find those. But yeah, so we are gonna head on over to the set. Please join us. We'll see you soon.
Let's go.
Hi everybody, so welcome to this episode of A Cup Full of Confessions. We are sipping on the Maison number 9 by Post Malone. Today we'll be discussing
Peace is perfect.
Yes it is, yes it is. So we'll jump right in.
Yeah, let's jump in. So just mainly talking about how do you regroup once your peace has been stolen from you. So it's like starting over. We go through so many things, you know, in life and so many trials and so forth. But how do you just start moving? Like every day you have adversities and so forth. So how do you keep moving?
I think it's important to be focused on the mental state. Your mental and how you look at things is going to really, really play a big part into how you carry out your day.
Right.
Because what we know is that we'll always have adversity.
Absolutely.
It's never going to change. I remember at one point I was going through some things in life, and it was kind of like a AD and a BC for me, so it was like before Christ.
Okay.
And same problems in life, but it was really, really challenging and really difficult. And then I started seeking the kingdom, and I started studying the word and all of those things, and praying more, of course. And I remember going back to my mom, and I was like, Mom, I have the same issues going on that I had going on before, but it's so much easier now. Because I'm, studying the word and everything. And she was like, yeah, that's how it is. That's how it's supposed to be, which is why you're supposed to keep God first.
Absolutely.
And I remember that, and it's very, very true. So if you're going through some things, you want to make sure that you keep God first and foremost in your life. He needs to be top-notch, paramount, very, very important to do that.
Because I feel like, of course, we all experience things, but like you said, once you're in a certain space in your life, because like I remember years ago just feeling when I was much younger, like things happening, it's like, okay, you're always questioning, like, why is this happening to me and why am I going through? But it's just like you're not handling it, as far as like just, seeking out, just reaching out, praying and so forth to get yourself through whatever, it is you're trying to get through. So it's like,
Right.
now, knowing that, it's just like, that's how I make it. So it may look easy or like, oh, everything is fine, but it's like, no, I'm just at peace because I know what I have to do to, be able to move forward and, not feel like I'm breaking down.
Right.
Because it can easily be done, just life in general.
Yes, it can.
So.
Because it's a lot going on out there.
Yeah.
And you have to remain, like, focused.
Mm-hmm.
You have to have a plan. I always say, you wake up in the morning with a good mindset, because it kind of like establishes your day.
Right.
And before I open my eyes in the morning, I generally try to pray, like on iPhone, your alarm clock, you can title it something. My title is the armor of God. So I say that prayer before I get out of bed. Like before I even open my eyes up, I just reach over, cut the alarm off, and then I try to say that prayer. And I include a lot of different people in the prayer because we need to be covered.
Absolutely.
You got to move through this day covered, you know what I'm saying? And in addition to that, I try to incorporate the Bible because it says you're supposed to start your day with it and end your day with it. I'm not always successful with it, but I'm getting better and better.
Yeah.
And I notice when I do that, it kind of just sets the tone for the day, and it just makes it, it doesn't make the day, I don't want to say stress-free, but it just makes it bearable. Like,
Right.
okay, I know that God has me, and it probably does protect me from a lot of things that could have been happening that are not, because I asked for that protection and that covering.
Everything, like you say, you have to make that, just like we get up and we do our daily hygiene, you have to make prayer a part of your day. Like, you making it without it, like, I don't even know how that's possible, because it's like, for me, it's no way around it,
right?
I do it just like I'm brushing my teeth, so, and I'm not just doing it okay, when I'm up in the mornings, it's like constantly throughout the day,
Yes.
it's, just constant prayer. I can literally be sitting here, and praying. I can be at a stoplight and praying,
I'm the same way.
Yeah, so it's just, whenever, it just happens.
I did not know you were like that.
Girl, yeah, like, that's all, like I told you before, that's all I know.
I was driving yesterday, and I was leaving from, it might have been 2 days ago, and I was leaving from a location, and I was talking to God in the car, and I was passing a lot of people, and I remember at a point where I would drive and I would feel apprehensive about talking to God, because it was like, people gonna look at me and be like, she crazy, who's she talking to, ain't nobody in the car. But because we have hands-free and all of the technology that we have now, you can do that and it not look weird.
Right.
Like, I'm on the phone.
Right.
Let me ring up the main line. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So, but yeah, definitely. You want to establish those things in life so you have some structure. And, the title of the episode is Peace is Perfect. And, of course, nothing is perfect in life. But these things that we're dropping, these jewels that we're dropping, they're going to help you be aligned with your higher self as much as possible.
Absolutely.
I mean, keeping a clear head, incorporating exercise is good, eating right.
Yeah, and just having that time to yourself as well. I mean, especially when you have, you're at a household, you have, children, your significant other, you still need that time for yourself.
You definitely do.
Because, yeah, you can, I feel like my hair could be standing up on my head sometimes, but,
Absolutely.
So you have to have that moment where it's just like, okay, let me step away, let me have this moment, and that's okay because you're still human, so.
So then you've gotten ready, you're looking good, you're smelling good, you grab your breakfast, grab your lunch if you pack your lunch. The kids are out going to school if you have kids, if not, okay. So you have your things in order, and a lot of us work from home now, some still going to an office, but you get to your office and then there's turmoil. A lot of people have experienced this before. So what's something that you've experienced before at your job where you felt like you were not at a state of peace, and how did you get through it?
I guess I can say working on projects,
Mm-hmm.
And people not holding up their end. So now it's like it's a time sensitive, deadline, and now it's like it's being placed on me. So I'm supposed to do X, Y, Z within a certain amount of time. So it's just like, okay, is this the day that I walk out, or like you have a lot going through your head. Like, is this the day? Okay, is this the day? Like, I'm just really going to tell on my mind, just to give them a piece of my mind,
Right.
or it's like so much going through your head, But then it's just like,
Do I really need this check on
right,
Friday?
Right. So constantly trying to be a better version of yourself. I know myself. It's like, okay, I just have to do it, pray my way through it, and just get it done.
Yes, yes.
But then that motivates me to do other things that I have, in mind of doing as well. Like, so when things like that happen, it's just like, okay, I'm not trying to do this forever,
Right.
So this pushes me. So I'm like, I feel like sometimes things can happen to position you, for another move.
Like you gotta trust the process to get to the next
Right.
level. Yes.
Because every day is not gonna be just smooth, and everybody's doing what they're supposed to do, and it's just not gonna happen.
And it's not. I know personally speaking, I've been in the corporate world before where I have to more so answer to a supervisor. I've been an entrepreneur now for about 10 years, so that's a different ball game, but I still have to answer to somebody,
Right.
because I have clients, and then, it's other professionals that I do business with that I have obligations with, and I have things that I have to do, and it can get stressful sometimes. But an instance for me where I remember being in a state of chaos and confusion, and when I was a employee, I would stress myself out to no end. Like, I wanted to be the stellar top employee. Like, girl, when I look back on it now and I think about how I was, it kind of disgusts me how much I would stress myself out about doing everything, like making sure the reports were on time, making sure I met every target at work, making sure I showed up every time. Like, even if I called out, like, oh, what are they gonna think? Am I gonna get in trouble for this? Like, it was so crazy that I would put all that stress on myself, right? So I remember one time before I went into general brokerage, I was doing property management. I worked for a company, and it was a luxury apartment community I was managing, and it was like 400 units, which is a pretty nice sized community. And I had assistant manager, leasing consultant, and like maybe 3 or 4 maintenance guys that worked under me. And this community had a reputation for managers lasting 2 months.
Oh, wow.
And I was the 6th manager in 2 years or something like that. I can't remember what it was. It was a nightmare. It was a nightmare. It was so stressful. And like I told you, the type of person that I am at that time, I was just like so concerned about every little thing. And no one before me had come and mastered this. And the funny thing about it, this was a new job for me. I left another company to go and work with this particular company. And I had been at the former company for 8 years and done a spectacular job. Like, I had bounced around from community to community, and I was kind of like the senior manager. I would come in and turn the community around and get things back to how they were supposed to be, right? With goals and targets and stuff like that being met. So then when this job came up and they told me about how no one had lasted and they were like having a two month I don't know, seasoning period, and then they would leave. Yeah, I was just like, okay, I can handle this because this is what I did at other communities. I got there, girl, it did not work out. I remember one day the vice president came and met me at my office, and I knew it was the end. And she met me in the office, and then we had a conversation. I was so happy to turn those keys over.
Wow.
I was so happy to turn those keys over. I swear I had a nervous breakdown at that job. And my friend that passed away, she's no longer here, rest in peace to Tiara. I remember calling her, and I was just like hyperventilating, and it was just so much for me to take in, like, this is too much. And she was like, this is not it. Like, you gotta find something else. This is not it.
Right.
And I just took a break, and I had been working since I was like 14 or 15 up to that point. And I can't even remember how old I was at that point. I think I was like in my early 30s. And everybody's like, just take a break. Like, you've been going hard. You've been doing property management for so long. Just take a break. And I got unemployment, and I was at such peace.
Right.
And I made a good salary, so my unemployment check was good. It was A1. So I was just sitting back and I relaxed. I had a nice little savings set up, and I was good.
Yeah.
And that's how I found my peace. And after that, I was just like, I will never do that again. I will never do that again, because the stress level that it incorporated into my life when I left that company didn't appreciate it at all.
And that's how I feel, like, you know, like you said, of course, you're working, you need your job and so forth, but as far as just stressing myself out, because it's like you're here today and literally you can be replaced tomorrow. They don't care, so it's just like I do what I know I'm supposed to do, but it's like I'm not doing the absolute most, you know what I'm saying? Because it's just like
They don't
you
appreciate it.
Yeah, like you don't care whatever I have going on, you don't care, you just care about getting
The target met,
right.
the deadlines met.
So
Yeah.
I do what I'm supposed to, but that's it.
So like, okay, so we covered work, of course. So you get off work, you go back home, right? And then it's kind of like you want home to be your zen mode, your peace, your sanctuary. And that's how I feel. I'm a homebody. I think you are too.
Oh, yeah.
You always have a lot of stuff going on, but I think you prefer to be at home and relax
Absolutely.
the most. I'm the same way. So like, what are some things that you experience at home where it's kind of like you said earlier, your hair stand up on end?
Girl, so when things are out of order, okay, that I don't know, that does something to me. So I don't like to come home and dishes in the sink or anything like that. That's like a no, you know. So that happens. It's like, okay, what has everybody been doing? You know, like
Line 'em
why,
up.
yeah, like what has everybody been doing? Like I mean, like what's really going on? You know, things like I said, things being out of order, or you know, sometimes the girls they may have they're super close, but they still have their days. So when they're doing the most or whatever, I'm trying to get them on the same page, because I don't like anybody being upset, like in my household. Like, is our household perfect? Absolutely not. But I don't like anybody, even my husband and I don't like anyone being at odds, you know.
I never have witnessed y'all being at odds. So
Yeah, so
you
it's
manage that very well.
Yeah, it's like, and that, like, for us, that's growth, you know. Because now, yeah, we can have a conversation, and whatever the issue is, you know, if there is an issue, it's like we can converse about it, you
Right.
know. The girls, you know, however they feeling, I want to make sure we understand how they feel, they understand how we feel, but we're talking it out, working through it. I don't like for them to be at odds with each other, because I'm like, things that you do now will go into your adulthood, you
Right.
know. So I try to get them into, when they have, challenges, talk it over. Like, don't go and not, do you all need your moment from each other sometime? Absolutely. But don't go a day and it's like, oh, we haven't spoke. Like, we're not doing that. Like, we're going to talk. So we literally will, everybody come in here, we're talking. Like, we go around, we talking, we saying how we feel, what bothered us, all of that stuff. So
Right.
I don't like for us to,
And you know what? I just thought of this. You guys, we didn't ask you what you're sipping on, so please jump in the comment section. Let us know what you're sipping on. Again, we're sipping on the, what is it called? The Maison? Maison number 9 by Post Malone. So check it out. It's really, really good.
I'm trying not to drink mine too fast.
Me too, but you know, as always, we have the D&G slippers on. Nice and comfy after a long day. So we were just talking about you get home from work, you're lining everybody up, trying to establish why is this the way that it is, right?
Dishes, laundry, all of that.
I haven't gotten to experience the other side of how you're saying you line them up and like, why is this the way that it is? Because I'm Mama Bear, like my kids are so small still, so they can't really help out with so much. But I did experience it on the other side with my mom.
Okay.
When she would come home from work and be like, oh, my mom was like a hurricane coming through. Like, so after I learned my mom, I didn't play around with it. I would make sure stuff was the way that it was supposed to be. But what I've noticed, of course, like I said, my kids aren't old enough yet, but from what I've noticed, from most of the kids now, they're not really like that. Like we were coming up, like ensuring that things are the way they're supposed to be. Like kids are more laid back, and I don't want to use the term lazy, but they're just, you know, they have a lackadaisical approach to things.
And then it's like when I do come home and things are done, I'm like, oh, you know, and I'm like, well, I didn't say anything, so everything must be good. Like, if I'm not saying anything, then, you know, take that, like.
Right.
So, yeah.
So, peace at home is very, very important. I know I experienced a transition with my peace at home when I was married. With me, where I am now, being a single mom with the kids, I'm kind of the orchestrator of the peace at home. You know, if I want it to be like hell on wheels, it's up to me and how I carry things and how I interact with the kids.
Right.
If I want it to be harmonious, again, it's how I interact with the kids and my temperament. So keep that in mind when you're moving through your house. A lot of that is contingent on the adult or the adults in the household. So you want to make sure that you're setting the right tone for the kids, for your household, to establish, you know, a good vibe, good nature. Because you're teaching your kids, just like you were saying a second ago, this is how you're teaching your kids to go off into the world and behave themselves, how they go into school with their classmates and the teacher and carry themselves. And you want to just set them up for success, to be like positive, and just like we're saying, peace is perfect. Like,
make sure you, of course, in the mornings too, before going to school, they have peace, because, you know, going in first thing in the morning, of course, they can't function and, you know, focus, because they're thinking about, right, like, and then you expecting them to go and do a great job at school, and it's like all they can hear is your voice.
That's right.
You know, so
like, be for real.
Right. You know, so, and then it's like, okay, getting on them before bedtime, now they have to go to bed with that on their mind, you know, so it's like we got to incorporate peace for them as well.
That's right.
I mean, I'm not saying, it can be challenging, you know, but it's just like,
it's important.
You have to do it.
It's important to incorporate in, and it's mandatory. And everybody is not there, so we understand that, but just know that from listening to this episode, take some jewels and then just say, you know what, I'm gonna start changing some things step by step and incorporating those, and you'll notice it's so refreshing when you get to the other side of it. Because I was not managing it well at first. I was like frustrated a lot with how things had turned out for me, and then it was kind of like, is this what we're gonna do? We're gonna be upset and frustrated and and it was just like, no, we're not gonna do this. And I made a decision to change my temperament, and it's just been up ever since. And I believe in the law of attraction. So what you put out is what you're gonna get back. So then you keep putting out negativity, and you're wondering why things are not happening for you, and why people keep coming at you with, you know, things that are taking. If you give and you put out good energy, that's what you're gonna get back. So try that. Try it on for size. That's what people say, right? Try it on for size. But what I was alluding to, so like in my former life, when I was married, so I got married, and it's funny because I dated my ex-husband. Yes, we're no longer married. We dated for 5 years before we got married. We got engaged we did the year engagement, and we got married, and it was immediately turmoil. I'm talking about the night of the wedding, it was turmoil.
Wow.
Like I had told him, I remember I had told him, I was like, just have family and friends get a hotel so nobody's staying at the house. So we had a nice suite. After the wedding, we had a suite. And then the following week, we were going on a honeymoon. Someone had given us advice and said, don't go on your honeymoon right after, like immediately, like the next morning, go on your honeymoon. Like, give it some time to let everything settle and then go the next week. And I'm very, very glad we took that advice because it was just like something to look forward to in addition to everything that had just happened with the wedding. So anyway, so we're at this suite and he totally did not listen to me. So we had like a family day in situation at the house, like people all over the floor sleeping in my bedroom on the floor, and I didn't like that at all. Because I'm kind of like, this vibe is not really how you start your nuptials and your journey with your new wife, with people crashing all over the house. It's giving dorm room vibes. It's giving oola noodle. So that was the first concerning thing. But after that, it just compounded and compounded, and I didn't have a say in my own marriage, and I was just really, really distraught. And I was married. So Jen that is not married will just give somebody the deuces and peace out so fast. Like I don't really put too much effort into it. Like when I see that a relationship is not working, I try to make it work, especially if I value the person. But I will definitely peace out. I'm not one of those women that will just force it. Because I'm just like, you're not my person, and I'm not your person, and that's okay.
Right.
But when I was married, you can't peace out of a marriage. You got to figure it out. And if you don't figure it out, it's a process to get out of a marriage. Right. Boy, I was stressed the hell out.
Yeah.
I remember one night, the kids were upstairs. They were upstairs with my then husband, and I was sitting at the island in the kitchen. And I was just sitting there, and this is just like a movie moment, right? Because I've lived my life swearing that it's a movie following me around. I mean, a camera following me around. So I'm just sitting there at the island, I'm like, you know, of course I'm not saying this, but in my head I'm like, hey, Jen, like, how did we get here, boo?
Yeah.
Like, you used to be Jen driving around, like I had a F-150 with 24s on it, so I would drive around the city just doing my thing. Like, what woman has that? You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Listening to my music loud, I was just in my prime, and I'm just like, look at you. Feeling like Mr. from Color Purple, look at you. Who got you here? And I was so unhappy. And I was like, so you a mom now, this is what it came to. I didn't feel fabulous anymore. I didn't have a whole lot of say in my marriage. Like, my then husband was taking his family's opinion and direction on everything. And you know in the Bible it says you're supposed to cleave to your wife, cleave to your husband. That means separate from your parents, if y'all don't know. He wasn't able to do that. And it was troubling me so much because I'm like, I'm trying to be a ride or die, it's us against the world type situation, and he just wasn't affording that.
Right.
So I'm sitting there at the island and I'm just like thinking of all these things, and I'm like, okay, my kids was little AF. They were super little. I think my daughter was 1, so that meant my son was 3. And I was just like, this ain't it. And I said, you know what, but my kids are small, and I did not want my kids to be in a broken home, like a, whatever it's called, two parent household or whatever. No, that's not it. Where the parents are in different households. I did not want that, so I was just like, okay, fine. I'm just stick it out till the kids get old enough, and then I'll leave. That's stuff men sit around and think about, right? I'm gonna leave her ass when they get old enough. That's what I came to the determination of. So I was just like, all right, that's what it is. I accepted it. I was like, I'm gonna make the best of it though, right? Yeah. And hopefully things turn around before it gets to that point. Because that's a long time away.
Absolutely.
Man, I would say 3 to 6 months. I was like, I maybe sitting down in the alley, okay, we ain't gonna do this. This is over.
Like, it's a wrap.
This is a wrap.
Yeah.
So I was like, look, I want a divorce. And he was just like, what? Yes, I want a divorce. We separated immediately. I think after I asked him for a divorce, maybe we separated that weekend. And ironically enough, I immediately met somebody, which just was not in the cards. I wasn't trying to meet anybody. I was trying to get my spiritual journey on, to be honest with you. But Satan know when you're trying to be focused on God, so he sent a little deviant my way to knock me off my my path. A deviant.
Not a deviant.
A deviant. But anyway, when I asked for the separation, I was nervous. Because when you are married, you get comfortable with it being two people there. It's not easy to, financially, it's not easy to be in a household now and be comfortable with one person, one income.
Right.
Even the whole, I want to say workload, task load at home, cooking, cleaning, running errands, all of that stuff, it's just like a lot for one person. So, you know, after I asked for it, I knew what was going to be freeing to me, but at the same time, I'm like, hey, now I'm responsible for everything? All the bills too?
Yeah.
Everything. I think I can deal with that better than being unhappy. I'm gonna make it work. I'm a hustler, you know what I'm saying? I'll make it work. I was nervous and I got into my Bible, like I said. It was so peaceful. It was very much peaceful. Yep. So I would say, you know, you have to really, I'm not telling everybody that's in a tumultuous situation to go and ask for a divorce at all. Because if you feel like God blessed your marriage and it was ordained, definitely fight for it and you put your best foot forward to do that. But if you know that you're in a no-win situation, you got to kind of...
It's when you feel like you've done everything you can do.
Exactly. You got to kind of count your coins and go ahead and come up with a game plan that works for you. And on top of that, I don't think my marriage was ordained, believe it or not. I had asked God, when we were dating a long time ago, was I supposed to be with him? And I asked for a clear and transparent sign, like make it plain for me, and he did. And I wasn't obedient. And I look back on it now, and I'm like, gosh, God was trying to protect his daughter. He's like, I know, I see what's in store for you if you continue on this path. But love made me continue on that path, and it was just such the wrong direction to go down. And it created a lot of chaos and confusion. And we know God is not a God of chaos and confusion. So he was like, okay, that's what you want to do. I'm going to let you figure that part out. And now, you know, reluctantly, this is where I am. But I made the best of it. You know, I still feel like at this point I'm at a peaceful state.
You're in a good space. Yeah.
Exactly.
Absolutely.
And if I had to do it over again, I would. But if I could do it over again, I would take it back to the point where he told me that you're not supposed to be here, and then I would peace out at that point instead of having to make my bed harder than it had to be.
Right.
So, I mean, because the best thing about the marriage was the honeymoon.
Absolutely.
I mean, we had a blast. We went to Dominican Republic.
Oh, girl.
And I can't remember the resort we stayed at, but we went for a whole week. And I remember my sister, because, you know, of course, she knew different things that we battled with or whatever. And she was just like, when you go on the trip, just go as best friends. And you'll have a blast the whole time. We were on a plane, and I told him what my sister said. And he kind of looked at me weird, like, what? And I was like, just go with it. And we did, and we never got into any kind of disagreement. And now to this day, it was one of my favorite trips.
Oh, wow.
It was just so awesome. Every day was a great day. Like, I couldn't pick one day that was better than the other.